Hi, Arcfield meteorologist Paul Dorian here on Thursday morning, October the 9th. We have a significant coastal storm on the way for the upcoming weekend into the early part of next week that will have an impact across the Carolinas, the Mid-Atlantic region, all the way up to the northeastern U.S. Wind gusts certainly can reach 50 plus miles per hour along coastal sections of New Jersey, for example. Delmarva Peninsula down to the Carolinas, we're looking at 50 to 60 mile per hour wind gusts, heavy rain, especially along coastal sections, and with a prolonged period of onshore flow, expect to see some significant beach erosion, coastal flooding during this event that will really take place between Saturday night and Monday night across that area from the Carolinas all the way up to the northeastern states. We'll talk about some of the players involved here. And again, it looks like a significant coastal storm on tap for the upcoming weekend into the early part of next week. We've been talking about this cold frontal system that passed through the Mid-Atlantic region, the northeast U.S. Late yesterday. Paved the way for the coolest air of the season so far, and in many areas the first frost of the season expected late tonight into early Friday morning. That's many areas of the Mid-Atlantic, the northeast U.S. Here is the cloudy clouds associated with that frontal system, and notice it's pushing a little farther to the south and east. It is that frontal boundary zone that will infuse some energy into this system that is looking better organized this morning just east of the Bahamas. Here are the Bahama Islands right here. So this frontal boundary zone is a key player. There also is, and you can't see that on this satellite imagery loop, but there's a little upper level low that will become an important player now situated over south central Canada. We'll take a look at the 500 millibar height anomaly forecast maps in a moment. But once that upper level low kind of gets wrapped into this system here, that's when the surface low will intensify significantly, again, leading to an impactful rain and wind event this weekend and early next week, all along the Carolina coast, Mid-Atlantic coast, and up across the northeast coastline, and it will be impactful to many areas inland as well. Again, this is a better organized system this morning. This frontal boundary zone is continuing to slide to the south and east. When they meet down in this area, that's when you get some enhancement in the low-level convergence. You start to see that surface pressure drop, and you'll get a consolidated surface low right in this area right here. And then when that upper-level system infuses into the system, it'll basically phase in with this system, and that will cause significant intensification of the coastal low. Well, let's take a look here at the aforementioned upper level low over south central Canada. Again, a key player. We're using the European model run from last night, by the way, the 0Z run of the Euro. These are the 500 millibar height anomaly forecast maps, and I wanted to kind of broaden the view to make it the view of North America, because there's a tropical storm well out in the Atlantic, Jerry, that likely becomes a hurricane. But even that is involved in this weekend scenario, because some of the moisture from Jerry actually can feed in to the coastal storm that will develop and intensify this weekend. First of all, right here, as we begin the day here on Thursday, here's that upper level low feature. Not a major trough by any means, but it will play a big role in this weekend coastal storm system here. We'll just move forward in time and watch that this system drives to the south and east over the next 48 hours or so. Now, by the time we get to Friday morning, we'll start to see an upper level trough setting up here over the southeastern U.S. Again, this is the time period where that frontal boundary zone moves right over the southwestern Atlantic. It kind of joins up with that tropical wave that is sitting right east of the Bahamas right now, and this upper level trough tends to intensify, as will the surface low pressure system right in this area. And here's a reflection of 500 millibars of what is now Tropical Storm Jerry. It very likely becomes a hurricane. No threat to the U.S. East Coast, but it actually can feed in some moisture into this coastal storm that will form over the upcoming weekend. Here's the forecast map now for Saturday morning. And notice this upper level low, an intensifying upper level low, and intensifying upper level low here over the southeast U.S. And there is Jerry at this time. And this will phase in with that southeastern trough system. We can see right here, we start to phase in. This is now by Sunday, phasing in. By phasing in, I mean that basically provides some energy to the initial upper level trough over the southeast U.S., and it will intensify significantly when that infusion of energy comes from that upper level low. And here they phase together. By the way, this is would be a spectacular setup if you're a winter snow lover for a coastal storm. If there was cold air around, of course, this is all a rain event right now, but this is something that snow lovers would dream of for January, February time frame. An explosion of a coastal low if there were cold air around, of course. Now here we go into the early part of next weekend. Because of this strong upper level ridge that pops up over southeastern Canada, this system will not be able to go much farther to the north than, let's say, Long Island or the southern part of New England, and it will tend to stall out for a little bit here early next week, and perhaps even take a loop back around for a while. In other words, it will cause a prolonged period of onshore winds across much of the eastern seaboard, and that is always a recipe for some problems when you're talking about coastal flooding or beach erosion. When you have a 2 or 3 day period of strong onshore winds, east to northeast wind flow along the coastal sections, let's say from New Jersey down to the Delmarva all the way down to the Carolinas, that spells trouble, and it's something that we're looking at here that is certainly on the table, especially for the Sunday, Monday time frame. We'll go out a little bit farther in time, all the way into Tuesday of next week. Finally, the system looks like it may be able to exit off to the east, but the damage will be done. Again, impact will be prolonged along the eastern seaboard. We're talking about, let's say, late Saturday night through the day on Monday in places like the Mid-Atlantic region, even the Carolinas, with a long period of onshore flow. Well, let's walk through the 850 millibar temperature anomaly maps here. This is, again, using the 0Z Euro. Colder than normal air mass has moved into the northeast U.S. It will result in the first frost in many areas late tonight, early Friday morning, especially those suburbs north and west of the big cities along the I-95 corridor region, the northwest suburbs of Philly, even the far northwest suburbs of D.C. could get their first frost of the season late tonight into early Friday. Certainly interior sections of New Jersey, as well as temperatures drop well down into the 30s in many of those suburban locations. We'll move forward in time here into the latter part of the day today, and then into the end of the work week here on Friday. Still some colder than normal air hanging on right along the eastern third of the nation. It'll be kind of a frosty start to the day on Friday across much of the east. And then we'll move forward in time here, and certainly the coastal low will have an impact on temperatures in the eastern part of the U.S. Again, a long period of east to northeast winds all the way from the Carolinas to the northeast U.S. We'll keep a lid on temperatures right through the upcoming weekend. And here we go then into the day on Sunday. And this is the a little bit above normal temperatures, but that's at the 850 millibar level, a few thousand feet off the ground. I expect the surface temperatures to be at or below normal in this time frame. We're going into the day on Sunday and into the day on Monday. Again, expect a stiff east to northeast wind here with low-level ocean air keeping a lid on temperatures both Sunday and Monday. We're looking at high temperatures only in the low to mid-60s on both of those days, Sunday and Monday, in places like D.C., Baltimore, Philadelphia, and New York City. A lot of colder than normal air by this time early next week out across the southwestern part of Canada and the west coast, where they've had numerous colder than normal air masses over the past several months. Now let's walk through the European model run surface forecast maps. Again, we're looking at the North America view. A lot of big players here. First of all, we have this cold frontal boundary zone now sliding south and east towards the southwestern Atlantic Ocean, right in this area right here. This is the front. Came through the mid-Atlantic, northeast U.S. yesterday. It has a temperature gradient associated with it, as do all frontal systems here. And that gradient, the temperature gradient, will help to cause some increase in the low-level convergence right in this area. And that's the beginnings of the development for that weekend coastal storm. This, by the way, Tropical Storm Jerry, likely to become a hurricane, certainly stays away from the east coast in terms of its location. However, some of its moisture, and we'll see this in a moment here on these forecast maps, will kind of move to the north and west and get absorbed by the coastal storm here. And here is another key player, very strong Canadian high pressure over the southeastern part of Canada on Thursday here. Then we get into the morning hours on Friday. By this time, Jerry could indeed be a hurricane, still well out there over the Atlantic Ocean, and we're starting to see that intensification, more of a consolidation of those showers and thunderstorms right along the southeast U.S. coastline. At this time on Friday morning, you'll have that frontal boundary zone moving right into this position. And notice a strong high, winds flow clockwise around highs, and that is the beginnings on Friday of onshore flow across places like the coastal Carolinas here. And again, you get a prolonged period of onshore flow that really enhances the chance for coastal flooding and beach erosion, which certainly is on the table for this weekend event from the Carolinas all the way up to the northeastern states. Here we go into the latter part of Friday and into the morning hours on Saturday. And I mentioned a little bit of moisture actually may feed to the west here from Jerry into this developing coastal storm here. This is the forecast map for Saturday morning. By this time, we're getting some intensification of that surface low pressure system with this stiff onshore flow starting to intensify across the Carolinas. And here we go. By the time we get to late in the day on Saturday, likely to be Hurricane Jerry right out here. A little bit of a connection here with the intensifying upper surface low pressure system. And at this time, that upper level low is starting to inject some energy and helping to create, not only helping to energize the surface low, but it actually tends to act to pull it to the north here, and that allows for mid-Atlantic region, even the northeastern U.S. to get impacted by this coastal low here. Here we go now into the day on Sunday. Heavy rain, strong winds from the Carolinas to the mid-Atlantic coastline all the way up to the southeast part of New England, let's say Long Island all the way to Rhode Island. Can get some strong winds and heavy rainfall here on Sunday, and that will last into Monday. Now here's Jerry staying out over the Atlantic, but again, some of its moisture gets wrapped in by this significant coastal storm. By the way, the winds on the coastal sections of, let's say, the Mid-Atlantic and Carolinas certainly can reach that 50, 60, maybe even a little bit higher than that range here. We're talking 50 to 60 mile per hour wind gusts possible along the Jersey coastline, maybe Long Island, certainly down to the Carolinas, with perhaps as much as 3+ inches of rain along those coastal sections. Now, inland, let's say the I-95 corridor region, this could end up with 30 to 50 mile per hour wind gusts, maybe 1 to 3 inches of rain. Let's say a place like Philadelphia, for example, in that Sunday to Monday time frame. Still a few days away, but that's how it's looking right now. This system moves northward up to the Mid-Atlantic coastline. Here's the forecast map for late Sunday. We have this strong ridge both at the surface and the upper part of the atmosphere, parked over southeastern Canada. That helps to intensify the pressure gradient between this high and the low. It helps to stiffen the winds, and we have a prolonged period of strong onshore flow across much of the eastern seaboard. And because of that blocking pattern in the atmosphere, this system cannot go much farther to the north than is featured right here as of Sunday night, early Monday morning. And that just prolongs the agony here because it slows down to a crawl, maybe even loops back around. It looks like impact across places like the Mid-Atlantic region from late Saturday night all the way into late Monday. We'll go into Monday. Here we go into the midday on Monday, and here's that surface low right over the Mid-Atlantic coastline here as late as midday on Monday. So even though effects will start to be felt Saturday night, they can last all the way through the day on Monday. We'll finally go into the day on Tuesday when it starts to exit off to the east and out to sea. So we have a significant coastal storm on the way. Now we'll have a big impact from the Carolinas to the Mid-Atlantic coastline all the way up to the northeastern U.S. The worst part of the storm certainly will be along coastal sections from southern New England down across the Mid-Atlantic region to the Carolinas. We're talking about the Delmarva Peninsula, coastal New Jersey, Long Island, for example. Long coastal sections could be 50, 60, maybe even higher wind gusts the way it's looking right now, with some significant rainfall as well, maybe 3, 4, 5 inches in some of those coastal areas. Inland, let's say the Philadelphia metro area, for example, you could have 1 to 3 inches of rain out of this kind of a system, maybe 30 to 50 mile per hour wind gusts. Again, a prolonged onshore flow event here with coastal flooding and beach erosion certainly on the table, and we're talking about the main impact from late Saturday night through much of the day on Monday. That's it for now. For ArcfieldWeather.com, this has been meteorologist Paul Dorian.